Hello and good afternoon, all. Thank you for tuning in with us today. Today is another special episode of our Alumni Virtual Engagement Series. This is a video series where we sit down and talk with prominent Manor College alumni to hear about their experiences as a Manor student, what life has been like since graduating or transferring for them. My name is Kelly Pfeiffer, and I am the Vice President of Marketing, Communications, and Advancement, and pleased to be your host today. Today we are talking to an alum who graduated from Manor in 1987. She earned her Associate's in Science degree in business with a focus in Medical Secretarial, which was a very popular degree in the 1980s. Unfortunately, that degree is not really offered today. And DeSantis was heavily involved in the student club called the Pacers, which was a student group that sponsored fun events on campus. Sounds like today we have called CAB, Campus Activity Board. After Manor College, Anne went on to earn several degrees in business education, a master's in theology, and is currently working towards her doctorate. So we're going to catch up with Anne and welcome Anne. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Kelly, thank you so much for having me on this podcast. I'm honored to be here.
Yeah, well, we're so happy to have you and to hear kind of your story. So start us off with, why did you choose Manor? How did you hear about it and find it and then kind of make that decision that that's where you were going to start your higher education?
Thank you. Well, I have to give my mother the credit because she was the one who had suggested Manor College to me back in the 80s. And as you said, I graduated in 1987. I actually graduated high school in 1983, and I was at a different college for a couple of years, but I wasn't really sure what in air quotes, will say what I really wanted to do with my life. And so at that time, my mother had suggested to me Manor College. It was in the area. I grew up in the Hatboro area, Montgomery County, and it was in driving distance for me. So I was a commuter and I really enjoyed the program. And as you said, I since went on to continue my education and have been so blessed to be a part of the community of Manor.
That's awesome. Well, good for mom inspiring you and kind of encouraging you that way. I was in a focus group last year with a bunch of current students, and I think there was about 10 students in the focus group, and we asked all the students, how did you hear about Manor? And at least half of the students said that it was their mom particularly who told them, like, you should go there. That's a good spot for you. So I love how still today, mom is still very influential in the college process. So that's really good to hear. So what was it like being a student? What were you involved with? What did Manor kind of look like in the 80s?
Well, it looked pretty different from what it looks like today. So I have to commend Manor College on how you've expanded so much over the years. I recently came to your fundraising event last month and was just so impressed with how far Manor has come in all of the offerings, the degrees that are offered there now. And as you said, I was a pretty involved student, although I did work as well. So I was busy with, making money on the side and also with being a student. I was involved in the Pacers Club, as you mentioned. It was something like the organization that you mentioned that's on campus today that helps to engage students in activities, fun activities on weekends and just bringing people together. So that was a lot of fun for me. And as you mentioned, my degree was in business, medical secretarial, which is no longer in existence anymore at Manor because obviously technology has come such a long way since that time, but it really got me off to a great start in my career.
That's great. Yeah, that's great. I love that you were involved in trying to help students find things to do and to create those experiences, which are so critical to like a college experience. That's really cool. Tell me about your classes. Were there any professors that you remember or really impacted you, or what was your classes like? And I think Manor might still, was it all girls then, or did it just go co-ed during that time?
I think it went co-ed during that time, but there were a vast many more girls in attendance. I think from what I could remember in our graduating class, I mean, we might have had a few males, but it was mostly female. And what was it like back then? First of all, my main remembrance is the teacher that I had for most of my classes, and her name was Esther Goldman. I want to make a big shout out for her. And also we've stayed in touch over the years, which has been such a blessing. She was an amazing teacher for all of my business classes. I learned so much from her. The class sizes were smaller back then, and I'm sure that even today they're on the smaller side, which is really the best situation for learning.
Hmm.
And I also went on later on, after I finished with Manor, I got my 4-year degree from Gwen Mercy University in business education.
Mm.
And I was a teacher. And as a matter of fact, I was a teacher for a few years right across the street at St. Basil Academy, which is not in existence anymore. I believe a couple years
Hmm.
ago they closed, but it was just a small world that I came back and was once again part of that community. And there was another teacher there that I worked with who was also an instructor at Manor. Her name was Renee Bendersky. She passed away about 4 or 5 years ago, but we also remained friends for so many years. She and I taught side by side at St. Basil Academy, and she was also an instructor at Manor.
Oh, nice. Oh, I love that. I love the SBA connection there too, teaching at the academy. That's great. Um, did you have any sisters as professors? Do you remember? Any
I did not
nuns?
have any sisters as professors. There was Sister
Hmm.
Frances, who was
Yeah.
in charge of the Pacers Club that I mentioned,
Yep.
which was that activities organization. And
Hmm.
she was amazing. But yes, that she was the only one that I really worked side by side with.
Yeah, Sister Frances. She's at the convent now. She retired from Manor maybe, I don't know, 9 years ago. Not that long ago, frankly. And she's over next door at the convent. I'm pointing because the building's right
Yeah.
behind me. And yeah, she is so sweet. And we think about her often. So that's neat that Sister Frances was part of that. So what value do you feel now, kind of in looking back? What value did your Manor education give you? And how do you feel that it prepared you for kind of pursuing a kind of a lifetime of more education?
Yeah, I like that question a lot. I like the word value because that's exactly what I experienced when I was there. And I would say that the family atmosphere at Manor was really very good for me. And as I said, I wasn't sure what I really wanted to do with my life when I graduated from high school. I went to another local area college and just left there thinking, you know what, I didn't have my degree yet, but I wanted to continue. I wanted to do something. I wanted to make the best of my life. And as I mentioned, my mother was also working in the field of, working in the medical field at a doctor's office. And I liked what she was doing. And so I thought, you know what? I like that idea. I like the idea of working with patients and in the medical field and business. But when I finished there, I had that hunger to continue. I had the hunger to continue. And that's when I went on to go to Gwinnett Mercy University, got my 4-year degree there. And later on, I mean, I've been involved in a lot of different things over the years. After I had my children, I decided that I wanted to stay home for a while. I actually wound up homeschooling them. And a lot of people say to me, like, well, how did you know what to do? Because it's a tough thing to be able to do
Hmm.
that. And I think the experience that I had with my college education and education went on to finish that. And later on, got my master's degree actually in 2021 from St. Joseph's College of Maine in
Hmm.
theology. And I'm now the executive director for a Catholic nonprofit called the St.
Hmm.
Raymond Nonnatus Foundation, which makes pastoral outreach to families in crisis.
Hmm.
About 2 years ago, I also started my studies with Pontifex University for my doctorate in theology, which I should be finishing this coming year,
Hmm.
2024. So it's definitely been quite a journey since Manor, but I would
Hmm.
say that my foundation with Manor was really where it all began.
Hmm.
I really loved it there so much. I love the people that I met. Everything that I learned has helped me so much in business because, like I said, I'm an executive director now for a nonprofit, and everything that I learned in my associate's degree in business has helped me to be able to establish myself in the nonprofit world.
That's great. I love how you were able to articulate kind of this like full picture journey of kind of backwards almost like where you are today and then kind of how you saw it transpire from being a mom and homeschooling to not really sure what you want to do in college, which I have to say for anyone watching, that's super common and really nothing to be that shouldn't be taboo. Students nowadays still don't know what they want to do. And it's really hard. It's a really hard thing to know when you're 18, 19, 20 to know, oh, what am I going to do for the next 40 years? So we see that often, and we see students often transfer from other institutions where it just wasn't the right fit because they wanted to, try something else, or they wanted a smaller setting where they could have some flexibility to try different things. So that really does remain true today. I think the average college student in the country changes their major at least twice before like settling in on what they're going to graduate on. So that's really neat to hear that that's okay. And look at the look at the career you can still have from kind of a shaky start almost, or a questionable start. So I think that's really encouraging for people to hear. And are you a first generation college student? Did your parents go to college, or are you the first in your family to go?
No, I wasn't the first one. Actually, my parents did go to college as well. But yes, it was
It's
just
great.
a blessing to start out at Manor, and I feel so connected
Mm.
to the institution. Also make a shout out to Tom Sims, who is with you and has been with you before in the past,
Hmm.
as I was also got to know him through the foundation that I work for. And I saw him also at your fundraising event. So that
Yeah.
was also beautiful.
Yeah. Tom is best. But yeah, definitely. That's great. So tell me a little bit about what your current role is and kind of what you do and how are you making a difference in the world through working at this nonprofit?
Thank you so much. Yes, I love working for the nonprofit. It's called the St. Raymond Nonnatus Foundation for Freedom, Family, and Faith. And we make pastoral outreach to families in crisis, both within the Philadelphia area and actually throughout the whole country.
Hmm.
We offer free pastoral consultations with a priest. Our website is nonatus.org. It stands for our patron saint, St. Raymond Nonnatus.
Mm-hmm.
And we really try to do our best to help families and individuals who have gone through really challenging times, all kinds of crisis. So
Mm-hmm.
I get to meet with them, talk with them, and actually help to connect them with the right resources. And
Mm.
on that note, I would just want to mention to the Sisters of St. Basil, because I know that Manor is open to all faiths, but I just so happen to be Catholic too. And that piece with the Sisters of St. Basil,
Mm-hmm.
and also the religious order there, the sisters, was
Mm-hmm.
also so welcoming when I was at Manor too. And that was also a real big connection for me. So I just want
Mm.
to thank them for their good work.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. It sounds like you're doing obviously really important work, but it has a mission, it has a calling, and just like us at Manor, we have a mission, we have a calling as well. So it's nice to have that kind of synergy together where we're both everyone's kind of doing work, mission aligned work, and that's kind of Manor. We are obviously we're an institution and we want to see students come in and graduate and enroll, but at the end of the day, we're also a nonprofit as well. So that's really neat to see that. So as we kind of wrap up our time together, Anne, what advice would you give to current students who are kind of right now we're in finals week, so they're kind of done and a little bit exhausted, but they're going to come back in January for a spring semester, and what advice would you give to current college students today?
I give the advice that the investment in your education is the best investment that you can make both now and in the future. And I would also like to make the shout out to Manor students that you made the best choice. I would never have changed the fact that I'm a Manor graduate. I feel that it was the best decision for me. And like you said, I mean, you said it best, Kelly. I wasn't sure what I really wanted to do when I graduated from high school. And I was at another institution before I started there, but I felt successful. And I think that you can too. And I would just say to stick with it and stick on the educational journey. And you have wonderful resources with Manor. Please stay in touch after you graduate as an alumni. Attend those yearly fundraising events and just make sure that you let Manor know what you're doing after you graduate, because it's going to be a beautiful day when you finish and when you get that degree, and you can thank Manor for that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. That's a great testimony, Anne. And thanks for the shameless plug of staying in touch with our alumni. I mean, I love talking to alumni, and I think it's definitely one of my favorite parts of my role. And I would love for every alumni out there to contact us to be able to just hear from you. And we want to encourage an alumni. We want to let them know that if they need help or if they need assistance on something, we're still here to cheer them on and to give them support. It's not just stopping when you're a student. So I think that's a really great advice. And investing in education is important. It sounds like you've been a lifelong learner, which I think is a wonderful thing for anybody. So I'm encouraged by you. I hope that anyone listening today is also. So thank you so much for your time together, and have a happy holidays.
Thank you so much, Kelly, and thank you, everyone.